Hi everybody, welcome to another edition of In the Black, our series to help you as a small business owner learn more about your business and how to manage it more effectively. We're with Ken Mann of Freedom Financial Solutions. He's our resident expert. Over the past few weeks and months, we've been going through different stages of what your business needs, and we started with marketing, then we went into production. We've got 9 principles, we went through 6, and now we're finally getting into accounting.
Can you believe it? Finally into accounting.
And our first topic in accounting is cash flow. Cash flow, cash flow, cash flow.
Yes, because cash flow is the lifeblood of any business. Right? Without cash, your business is going to struggle. All you have to do is ask any business owner if they've ever had trouble making their payroll one week, how important cash flow is to their business.
Well, let's talk about what cash flow is, because it's not just money in, money out.
Right. So cash flow actually involves cash, obviously, but there are other things that are called current assets that are important to cash flow. So the first one is who owes you money, your accounts receivable. Right. That is money that you know that is coming in because you've booked those sales, but it hasn't quite come into you yet. And so we want to keep an eye on those receivables. We want to try and make sure they're paying us in a timely fashion. That's money coming in. The other piece that's part of our assets, our current assets, is our inventory. So it's important to make sure we have the right amount of inventory on hand to make sure that we're not having too much inventory so that it's sitting there not earning money for us, or we have too little inventory so that we can't actually deliver to our clients what they need. And the opposite side of cash going out is our accounts payable. That's money we owe, people we owe money to. Could be our vendors, they want to get paid when they deliver their product to us. It could be our employees, they like to get their payroll every week. And it could also be, the government wants to get your payroll taxes, wants to get your sales tax, and they're not very friendly when you don't meet those payments that you're expected to. Because when you collect money for payroll taxes and you collect money for sales tax, you're acting as an agent of the government, and you're really not, it's not your money, you're just holding it for the government and then sending it back to them. So that's quick ways where money comes in and money goes out. And so a business owner can sort of measure how they're doing with their cash flow. It's called the current ratio. It's probably the quickest ratio. Most bankers look at that. Anyone looks at your business and look at that. And that is your current assets divided by your current liabilities.
And that gives you
a ratio of those two numbers. And so the target that you're looking for is 2 to 1. That means you have twice as many current assets as you have current liabilities. So if everybody that you owed money to came knocking at your door and said, we want our money, you can pay it, and you would still have money left over because you have twice as many current assets as current liabilities. So business owners should be checking their current ratio, which is a very easy number to calculate off of the profit, well, actually your balance sheet that you get from your accounting system.
Right.
And you can look at that very quickly and know exactly what that ratio is.
Okay. So now you're dealing at Freedom Financial Solutions, you're dealing with a lot of different size businesses. Cash flow is the same for everybody.
Yes.
But there are guidelines. What are the guidelines you can tell us in the audience that they should be looking for, or things they could do to help?
Yeah, there's several things that you should consider when you're looking at managing your cash flow for your business. The first is you want to make sure you have separate bank accounts. You want to have your business account and you want to have your personal account, and you don't want to intermingle those funds. Business owners often get into trouble when they reach into the business account to pay personal expenses, and then it's time to pay business expenses and the money's not there. So kill the intermingling. I say have a divorce between your business and your personal banking. Then inside of your business, you also want to have separate bank accounts. You want to have an operating account and you want to have a separate account for taxes. That's where you want to put your payroll and your sales tax in. So when the government goes to grab their money out, they're grabbing it out of that separate account, and they're not going to knock your operating account out of business. So those are a couple ways to manage bank accounts. You need to use your cash wisely. If you have inventory, we talked about that a little bit earlier in the segment, and you want to make sure you don't have too much inventory or not enough inventory. Because if you have excess inventory sitting on your shelves, sitting in your store, sitting on your lot, whatever the case may be, you're going to have money that's tied up in inventory that you can't use for other aspects of the business. Then when those bills come, it's sitting out there in that product and it's not available for you to use. As the business owner, you want to pay your payables as slowly as possible. As the vendor, you want to receive your money as quickly as possible. So it becomes a juggling act of how you do those two things. But you want to try to negotiate with your vendors terms. Hey, maybe I can pay you in 60 days, maybe I can pay you in 90 days, so that you can pay out slower. And then for your receivables, you want to try and get your people to pay quickly. Some people offer discounts, like a 2% discount if you pay me in 5 days or 10 days. And then, or you just want to stay on top of those, because as receivables start to move from 30 days to 60 days to 90 days, when you get beyond 90 days, we consider that uncollectible. Now you may still be able to collect it, but it becomes harder and harder and harder to get old money. So you want to try and pay attention to your receivables and your payables. It's important to determine your threshold in your bank account. Different businesses have a different amount of cash that they need in the bank. So one business owner, $2,000 may be his threshold. Another business owner, $50,000 might be her threshold. So it's important to determine what is your comfort threshold for how much money you want to have in the bank. And then you look at that number and you see if my number is there or not. And if it starts to fall below your threshold, you want to start paying attention to how do you get that cash back available to you. One of the things that most business owners fail to do that is critically important is to reconcile your accounts. What does that mean? You get your statement at the end of the month and you can compare the bank statement to what's in your accounting system. And the reason why you want to do that, especially for bank accounts, is if you're still writing checks. I know it's an archaic form of paying people today, but if you've written a check to someone and they haven't cashed it yet, even though your bank says you have this much money in it, you actually don't, because I could go to the bank today, deposit that check, and all of a sudden your bank account has less. So if you log on to your bank account in the morning and you see you have $5,000 and I run to the bank with that $4,000 check you gave me, all of a sudden you have $1,000. And so if you're not reconciling to be aware of what checks are still outstanding, you can quickly fall into cash flow problems. And I think the last thing that's important is to establish a budget. So you actually want to know how much should I be spending in each of these areas, and then you track your real expenses against that budget to make sure that you're not overspending in any given area, because that's a quick way to mess up your cash.
That's great. That's great guidelines and good information for people out there to kind of adhere to, or just get to know. If here's the thing: we're as small businesses, we're wearing so many hats, we're doing so many things. But if you can offload a portion of these things to guys like Ken, and someone who can do bookkeeping, it just makes your life a lot easier, because you can concentrate on the things that make you money and that drives the business and the visionary things, and then they can handle all the other stuff that most of us don't like doing.
Yeah. Right. So it's just important to know that lack of cash is probably the #1 reason businesses fail.
Yeah.
It's the quickest way to go out of business is to run out of cash.
Right.
You can just look up and down Route 9 and see it left and right.
True. So. Yeah, right. All right, Ken, well, thank you very much. That is Ken Mann from Freedom Financial Solutions, talking about the 9 principles to help your business grow in an effective way and keep your business in the black. We talked about this, principle number 7. Next time we get together, we're going to talk about principle 8, which is knowing your business. I'm Charlie Carnaccio. We'll see you next time.